Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is the Voice of Community News here in Florence, South Carolina, and I have a guest with me today who is Florence Councilman George Jeabily. How are you doing today, Mr. Jeabily?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to go nuts.
So we're here today. I want to talk to you about, I understand something great is happening here in the city of Florence this weekend, and people are going to come from all over the place. I want to just talk about, tell the viewers exactly what is going on this weekend.
What's going on is, as you can see right here, the South Carolina Pecan Music and Food Festival in historic downtown Florence, our 19th annual. It would be our 20th annual, except we took a year off for COVID. But this is our 19th annual event. Started the planning in 2002. The very first festival was in 2003, and here we are getting ready to go nuts on Saturday, November 4th.
So what is actually the Pecan Festival all about, and what should the viewers be looking for?
It's about the community. It's about people. It's about us. It's about bringing ourselves together, celebrating each other, celebrating all the wonderful qualities that we have as residents of the city of Florence, of Florence County, of the PD, of the Grand Strand, of northeastern South Carolina, and of South Carolina, because we get people from all over, not just South Carolina, that come to celebrate the Pecan Festival with us. And it's an amazing experience. If you've never been, you're missing out on something special.
So how did the Pecan Festival come about?
So you have to kind of go back in time now. Now we're going back, because people look at downtown Florence now and say, well, gosh, it's so vibrant. You have all these businesses. You got this hubbub of activity that takes place. Well, in 2000, 2001, 2002, downtown Florence was not the same downtown Florence it is today. And I was the chair of the Florence Downtown Development Corporation at that time. And we were searching to try to say, how do we invigorate, how do we inject life into downtown Florence? Because it's about people, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So as we were looking to do that, I got a phone call and a visit from Pat Gibson-Highmore and Gene Downing. The two of them had this idea, and their idea was to create a festival for Florence. They shopped it to the Chamber of Commerce, they shopped it to a number of different entities, and it just wasn't the right fit for them. So I got a call and I met with Pat and Gene, and they said they had this idea for a pecan festival, because at that time, young pecans, young shelling operation, that was a large shelling operation over on Darlington Highway, Lucas Street. It was ongoing at that time, and they thought, well, South Carolina did not have a pecan festival. It had a lot of other festivals, not a pecan festival. Florence had this pecan operation, so wouldn't it be a great fit for the city of Florence? They came to me, and I thought it was a great idea. I loved the idea, and I told Pat and Gene, boy, that's great. Thank you for bringing it. I said, I'll take it to the Downtown Development Corporation. I said, but there's going to be two things that are going to have to happen. Number one, it needs to be in downtown. If y'all will commit to having it in downtown, then that's something that we can embrace. And the second thing is, because all of us as human beings, as individuals, we have a dash, and then there's a beginning date and an end date to our names that goes on the tombstone. But this is something that I envision to live long past any one of us individually. And so I said it would have to be owned and run by the Florence Downtown Development Corporation. They both readily agreed to that. I took it to the FDDC, the Florence Downtown Development Corporation, took it to their board, and we presented the idea. It was embraced wholly. And so what happened is we formed a Pecan Festival committee. And I started out as the chair of the South Carolina Pecan Festival Committee, and I'm still the chair of that committee some 20 years later. But Pat and Gene both started off, we all had a group of us that started off working on it collaboratively together. And Pat is still very active, working as the entertainment committee chair for the festival, and it has grown over these 20 years to be something really special.
And so I understand that you've done it for 20 years and it is a remarkable event. How many people do you expect that the Pecan Festival will bring to Florence? About how many on the average?
So the way we phrase it is this: we annually bring in excess of 50,000 people.
Okay.
We can't keep track exactly. And of course, that counts for a turnover. You don't have 50,000 at any one moment in time, but you have people that come in the morning and then leave, and then others come at noon, and then they leave, and then others come in the afternoon. So you get a turnover of folks throughout the day. But on a day like we're expecting to have what we call pecan weather, where the weather is going to be 72 degrees and sunny and beautiful, that's what we call pecan weather. So with pecan weather on the forecast, we're expecting to have a very healthy and fun, active crowd, and we fully expect it to meet that 50,000 target.
So I understand the people that is going to bring. What about vendors? About how many vendors do you guys usually have on the average?
We have, this year, we'll have about 270 vendors.
Wow.
So one of the things that when you started on, when the festival first started, it was 2 blocks. You had one stage and you had 2 blocks and you had like 10 vendors. And we didn't know if 2 people were going to come, 20 people would come, 200 people. We had about 2,000. And so then the next year it grew to where we kind of doubled it and we had like 4,000 people. And so it has grown over time, but what it grew to where an initial footprint, it outgrew that footprint. So in order to make it the kind of festival we were envisioning, to meet the vision that we had for it, Drew Griffin was our city manager at that time, and I talked to Drew and I said, Drew, here's what we need to have happen. In order for us to grow the festival the way it needs to be, we need to have Highway 52, Irby Street, US Highway 52. We need to shut down Highway 52. He said, you know that's a US highway, right? And I said, yeah, I know it's a US highway. I said, but you need to work your magic and make it shut down, because we don't have enough space otherwise to do what we need to do to have the kind of footprint that we need to have. And Drew, bless him, forever and forever, I'll say bless him, because he worked his magic with the State Department of Transportation. He worked his magic with the federal government, whatever had to happen. And sure enough, for that one day, we shut down Highway 52,
Wow.
US Highway 52,
Wow.
from on Irby Street, from Palmetto Street to Baruti Street. That gets shut down. And we put up 2 stages, one on either end, one by Palmetto Street and another one, the main stage, in front of the complex over on by Baruti Street, by the railroad tracks. And that whole area is lined with vendors. And then you have Evans Street crossing the 100 and 200 blocks of Evans Street, crossing Irby. That's a part of the festival. Chevis Street, again, the 100 and 200 blocks of Chevis Street, crossing Irby Street. That's a part of the festival as well. And so the footprint now is about 10 linear blocks in downtown Florence. Dargan Street is closed as well. And we have 9 stages of music and 270 vendors.
So how would a person actually become a vendor if they wanted to become a vendor? What exactly would they have to do in order to actually be a vendor?
The first thing I would recommend you do is go to, and for not only for as a vendor, but for any information, go to scpecanfestival.com. scpecanfestival.com. It's an amazing website, chock full of every kind of information about the festival, the history, the current performers, the entertainment lineup, the vendor lineup, all the questions about it, that you can get. But come February is when we open up our vendor applications.
Thank you.
We fill up every year. We sell out of vendor slots every year. So the sooner one submits their application, and there's forms. If you want to be a food vendor, you've got to fill out the food vendor form. If there's an arts and crafts vendor, you need to fill out that form. If you want to be a nonprofit vendor, you fill out that form. So depending upon what type of vendor you are, and then what space you're interested in, the price fluctuates. So, if you're on a corner over here and you take up these two spaces, that's one price. And if you're over here, it's a different price. So go to the website and check out the all of the information on the vendors. But get it in early in February is my recommendation to become a vendor.
So all of the money that is made with the Pecan Festival, exactly how do that help the downtown area after this is all over?
The money that is raised goes to put on the festival. Remember, we are a free festival.
Yes.
Which means most festivals, you got to pay an entrance fee. You buy a ticket, and that allows you the privilege of being there. We don't have that. The doors are open. It's free for the public to come and go. If someone has a family of 4 and they want to come, bring a backpack with sandwiches and drinks and whatnot, they can come spend the whole day, enjoy all these free activities, and never spend a nickel if they want to. So that option is open. We have this free kids fun zone that's on the grounds of the Performing Arts Center, Francis Marion Performing Arts Center. All of that is free for the children. I mean, it's set up specifically that way and we're going to fight like crazy to make sure it remains that way as long as we continue to get the sponsorship money that we do to be able to put this on and it be free to the public. Now, of course, if you want to buy food, if you want to buy arts and crafts and things of that nature, if you want to go to the amusement rides and buy tickets for the amusement rides, you're certainly welcome to do that. But the money we raise, the money that's generated from vendor fees, goes to put on this free event every year. The benefit for downtown businesses is that we bring people. That's where the downtown business, for instance, we just have a new shop that just opened on West Evans Street. And they're so excited because this will be their first year to have visibility, and they are sprucing their place up. They're getting new products. They're putting their, interacting so that when the people come, they go, oh, wow, I didn't know that store was here. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'll be able to come back and do whatever, whether it's sit down and get a bite to eat or whether a general store and go get some items that are there. So you just, if you're driving past things, you don't notice what's there. But if you're a pedestrian and you slow down and we get the feet on the street, that's where people start to appreciate what a downtown is. You go to any downtown, whether you're in Charleston, New York, or New Orleans, or wherever, you appreciate the downtowns when you get out and start walking, not when you're just driving through.
So I'm going to kind of bring this thing to the end and just tell the viewers anything else that you would have. And I understand, on another note, for those of you who don't know, you can see from the screen, not only is he the kind of one of the organizers of the Pecan Festival, but he's also a long-term Florence City Councilman. I understand you're the mayor pro tem.
That's true, and I am, and my law firm is right here in the middle of Jeabily Law Firm. We're right here in the middle of downtown, this is, while the city of Florence provides huge support for the festival, this festival, and that's one thing that people ask a lot as a differentiation. It's not put on by the city. Certainly the city of Florence is one of the hosts of it, but it's put on and owned by and the produced by the Florence Downtown Development Corporation. I am fortunate enough to continue to be the chair of the Pecan Festival Committee and got a great team of people that work really, really hard 11 months out of the year. We're a bunch of workers. We roll up our shirt sleeves and we get to work. And you come out at 5 a.m. on Saturday morning, and you'll see us out here to getting everything set up because the transformation begins on Friday night at 6 o'clock, where we shut all the streets down. We're shutting down Irby Street. And then the vendors start to come in and the transformation starts to take place. And then Saturday morning, it continues with the rest of the vendors coming in. Right out front of my law office over here on the street, there's a classic car show with 150 classic cars. With the weather the way it's supposed to be, it could be up to that many classic cars. There's something for everybody. And then it all culminates at the end with our headline act. And this year, we've got the Family Stone coming in from California. We're flying them in from LA. And they'll be performing at 5:30 on the main stage with all the big hits. You know, they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, where they're one of the top 100 greatest rock bands of all time, according to Rolling Stone magazine. So we're just thrilled to have them. We've got the gospel stage, we've got a blues stage, we have a jazz stage, we've got country music, we've got rock music, we've got beach music. You know, whatever it is that you're interested in. We take a lot of pride in that. And of course, it all begins in the morning with the Run Like a Nut. And then you have the bike event. We have pre-registration so far is at the highest we've ever had for those events. So the interest level is really as much as we've ever seen it for this year. So we're very excited. Come on out, come early, stay late, bring a bag chair so you can park yourself down. But there's going to be a lot of good food, a lot of great fun for the whole family, and a lot of incredible music.
So again, there you have it right here from the Voice Community Times. We have Councilman George Jeabily with us, and I want to thank you first of all for taking the interview with us and giving our viewers an opportunity to see. And thank you so much for what you guys do on council to help. And again, viewers, I think this is big because here's a councilman who's working, rolling up the sleeve.
Oh yeah, that's what we do. We get to work.
So again, thank you so much. Again, thank you, viewers, for watching us here on the Voice Community News.
One last thing, you can say it with me. Let's go nuts.
Let's go nuts.
That's it.